The highly anticipated summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un may be at risk. North Korea threatened to cancel next month's meeting between the two leaders in response to joint military drills by South Korea and the United States. Weijia Jiang has the latest from the White House.
Just 5 days ago, President Trump soaked up praise at a rally in Indiana, confident his summit with Kim Jong Un was right on track.
Hopefully, for all of us, for the world, hopefully something very good is going to happen.
Now, North Korea is threatening to back out over combined South Korean and U.S. military drills, similar to this one from last year. Today, the North canceled a high-stakes meeting with South Korea set for tomorrow and warned the United States will also have to undertake careful deliberations about the fate of the planned North Korea-U.S. summit in light of this provocative military ruckus jointly conducted with the South Korean authorities. State Department spokeswoman Heather Nauert.
They're exercises that are legal. They're planned well in advance.
When President Trump accepted Kim's invitation to meet back in March, then CIA Director, now Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, was under the impression Kim would not object to the drills.
He's allowed to continue our exercises on the peninsula, something that's been fought over for decades.
The South Korean National Security Advisor was told the same.
He understands that the routine joint military exercises between the Republic of Korea and the United States must continue.
Last week, President Trump acknowledged the summit could always fall through.
Everything can be scuttled. Everything can be scuttled.
And Weijia Jiang joins us now from the White House. Weijia, how is the White House reacting to North Korea's comments?
The White House says it is aware of this statement from North Korea, and it is reviewing it, going through word by word, really, we imagine, to try to understand exactly what North Korea means here, and also working closely with allies. We should also point out that the State Department is reacting tonight, saying it is operating under the notion that this summit is still on for June 12th.
Well, North Korea has been taking steps to ease tensions with the U.S. and South Korea. It said it would dismantle a nuclear site by the end of the month and also freed 3 American prisoners. Where does this decision to possibly pull out of talks leave U.S. diplomats?
Well, you know, those two moves were certainly signs of goodwill to get to the negotiating table. But even before this new development, there was still plenty of room for both sides to strategize ahead of the actual meeting. So it does not necessarily put the U.S. at a disadvantage, because the U.S. has been so clear about what it is looking for during these talks. A verifiable and irreversible action to not only dismantle the testing sites, as you mentioned, but also to give up the weapons that already exist as a result. And we really haven't gotten an explicit understanding from North Korea that they defined denuclearization in that same way. And so even though this is a strong move by North Korea, right now there's still too many unknowns about the exact motive to determine where this puts the U.S.
Well, what sort of concessions might North Korea be trying to extract with this move?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because it seems that the time to talk about concessions ahead of the summit would have already happened, given the fact that Secretary Pompeo just went there for the second time for a face-to-face meeting with Kim Jong Un. That's when he brought back those 3 Americans you mentioned who were detained there. And it seems that would have been a logical time, if Kim wanted to talk about what North Korea wanted in exchange. And by the way, it's important to mention that these drills are not new. They've been a point of contention for decades, but Kim has been well aware of them and apparently agreed not to object to them when he invited President Trump to meet with him. In fact, back in March when that happened, then CIA Director, now Secretary of State Pompeo, said that Kim understands these drills have to happen and they're not going to stop. And the National Security Advisor for South Korea said the same thing right here outside the White House. And so at that point, Kim could also have said, I do want want to meet with President Trump, but under these conditions, and that simply didn't happen. So the fact that he's bringing it up now offers new questions about why and what he's really trying to get at, given the timing.
Are those the biggest questions, Weijia, remaining following this news?
Yeah, I think so. You know, this statement has to be examined very closely by analysts to try to really understand what is Kim Jong Un asking for. Does he want these military exercises to actually come to a halt? Is he just trying to get in a better position to show that even though he made concessions and he freed those Americans and agreed to shut down the test site, what else is there? And also, we'll be closely watching what President Trump says. You know, he appeared here at the White House a short time ago, and he totally ignored questions about this. So it'll be really interesting to see how he responds, because we've seen in the past how quickly things can escalate between President Trump and Kim in this tit-for-tat exchange. And we'll have to see if the language really ramps up in the coming days. And we'll also wait to see how far Kim is willing to go. I mean, this summit is very important for him as well. So is he willing to put it all on the line because of these exercises that, again, he has known about and apparently was okay with before today?
High stakes. Weijia Jiang at the White House. Weijia, thank you.
Sure.